So as 2021's come to a close and 2022 on the horizon, I guess I'm going to have to make a list of something. And looking back from my photos, it's been a mad year. I've taken photos. I think I've learnt a lot. Got to shoot quite a lot of cameras that I've bought on eBay and then probably sold on or decided to keep around because I liked them. So I've made a list of my 10 favourite photos. I'll show you them and talk you through them, some of the backstories behind them and some of the context. This list isn't definitive and it's not in any particular order. It's probably based on recency bias, if anything, because there's probably photos that I really love that I can't remember, and I've put this video together pretty quickly. Anyway, so I'll just jump straight into it. Hope you enjoy the photos, and let me know which ones you enjoyed below as well. Also, if you want to see more of my photos and my more frequent everyday presence, you can follow me on my Instagram, which is m_smith_94. And go check it out, so I upload on it a lot more than I do here. I'm calling this photo Savo, for obvious reasons. I took this in Monmouth. It must have been around the Easter holidays. Me and my mates went to Monmouth and some other spots in and around South Wales, just taking photos and just exploring because we were just coming out of lockdown. And you can see the video that this photo features in on my channel. The person in the photo is my mate Gordy. I told him to just walk back and forth past the camera and I just took a couple of photos. Again, it's on 1/8 of a second, and I was trying my hardest to keep the camera still, and I was holding my breath just to not move the camera in any way, and it paid off. I think the composition works really, really well, and the colours of, I think it was Agfa film, it gives it almost timeless quality to it. I mean, this could be anywhere. This could be New York. It doesn't look like it might be in Wales. It could be London. It could be Paris. Got the colours all complement each other. The yellow on the hat, the red of the Coke can complements the sign. There's nice poetry in it. And it's really satisfying image, I think. So this was a self-portrait I took, and I think it was the first self-portrait I took when I got my Pier M645. It was shot on Kodak Ektachrome 400. It expired in 1992. So I wasn't really sure how this was going to come out. Yeah, I was still figuring out the camera, and it was just a big experiment, but I guess it paid off. It's just really nice. I think I set the shutter speed to 1/8 and just started slinging my head around and let go of the shutter release cable. It's just, I don't know, there's something about it. And if you look really closely, you can see the catch light in my eye, and it's right in the middle of the photo. And I think that's what makes it, and that's what gives it context. You can see my face, and it's that look off camera, and I think it adds an extra level to it. And there's something about the colours to it, and the slightly distressed, grainy look that you get because it's degraded in this expired film. So I called this one the coldest one. You've probably seen this from one of my recent videos when I was up in Manchester, and it was shot on my Yashica T4 that I was using as a backup camera, but it ended up being the main one for the shoot on Cinestill 800T. And I just love the gravity. There's a strong sense, it pulls you in. There's just power, or just everything. It's just a real nice portrait, I think. It's so many emotions. I think there's hopefulness. There's, I don't know, just everything. Determination, just strength, and I don't know. It's just something you can just stare at. Sometimes your favourite photos come from the time you're just not thinking and just a spontaneous moment, because that's what this was. Me and my girlfriend went to a pier. It was on the coast. It's almost like a throwback from a different era, and there's loads of sort of Victorian little bits of architecture and stuff, and it's quite nice to take photos. And it's good for sunsets, so we went to check it out, and it was so cold. And I had my tripod set up and I was just messing around with the camera. And I remember she went off just to take some photos, and then she came up to me and I just literally just stuck the camera in her face and took the photo. But it was just such a non-dynamic moment, but there's just so much drama in this image. I think because of the flash, and you've got the contrast, and you've got the light in the background. I don't know, there's almost like an editorial quality to this image, or like a sort of fashion photography image. And just the colour, that red just pops, it just absolutely just pops out of the frame. And like the eyes just pull you in. And believe it or not, this was shot on a roll of C200 that had expired, and this image is so sharp. Like that Carl Zeiss lens on the Yashica T4 is just doing bits in this image. Like it's just, my jaw dropped when I seen it. It's just smashed as the nail on the head. Like it's just mad. But the roller C200 was part of a load that I bought. I bought from a guy. He has a YouTube channel called Shaka1277. He also has an Instagram as well. And I've seen a few people that were bulk buying C200 off him. I thought I'd get in on the action because Fuji C200 is a low-key don when it comes to the film, colour negative film, and I think it's probably at the moment it's one of my favourites, if not my favourite colour negative film to shoot. It's just a shame that it's not readily available, but now I've stacked up. I've got enough to see me through the next few months at least. Call this one Open. You haven't seen this one on the channel yet. This is making its first outing. I shot this, it must have been in summer, on my Yashica Matte TLR in Cardiff Market, and it just doesn't look like Cardiff Market. There's just so much mystery and atmosphere to it, and it doesn't look like it was shot in the middle of the day either. I think there's a timeless quality to it, and it just could be anywhere. It's just, I don't know, it's just so atmospheric and nice, and just 6x6 format coming into its own, I think. And it's just that little pop of text in the middle, the glow. I think it just really works. It's probably one of my favourite photos that I've taken on that camera as well. This photo I called Moonwise Teeth a little. This photo, I just love the tones and colours of this, the colour palette. It's just all complementary. I love the flat composition of it. I took it was so just impromptu. I was going for a walk, and it was in the middle of one of the lockdowns we had, and I seen a group of my mates that I hadn't seen in months. And we stopped to have a chat, and I literally broke the conversation off halfway through to turn around and take this photo. It's down the beach in my local town, and I don't know, it was just one of those moments where like I didn't really think too much of it at the time, but it came out really, really nice. I took it on my Olympus Trip 35. It's a camera that I don't use enough, and I think it's really underrated, but those who know about it, they love it, and for obvious reasons. And the lens on that camera, it punches above its weight. I haven't got a name for this one, just Foggy beach landscape. Yeah, I took it as my local beach. It's a mad day, like some of my mates were down there surfing because the surf was apparently just really, really good, but there was this real intense fog, which is really weird because up in the town sort of raised up from the beach, just like more or less on top of a hill, so there was no fog at all, but as you got down to the beach, there was this real dense fog, and once you got out right to where the sea was, it was low tide, you turned back to look at the cliffs, you could barely see them, you could barely see the car park at the beach, and I was shooting Cinestill, and I'm just so happy that like this little red lens flare halation thing happened, because it just works, it complements it. You got the subtle blue, the fog and the cliffs coming through, and you got these people in the distance to give it all context and scale, and it just looks like an alien landscape, but it looks like a painting. There's something, a real strong painterly quality to it that I just really like. I think this would be an image that would look really good blown up on a print, and it's something you can just stare at for a while. Blade Runner 2021 all up in here. This was just like, it was like Fuji Pro 400 on my Mamiya M645. I was shooting it handheld, and I just didn't expect these colours to come out, to be honest. I didn't anticipate this. Like, this is like, I don't know, something like from Cinestill or like Vision 3500T or something like that. And the combination of these colours and the dramatic shadows and stuff, the combination with that architecture was just crazy. It was taken in Port Talbot Parkway rail station, and ironically, Port Talbot was the town that inspired the aesthetic of the dystopian aesthetic of the film Blade Runner, and it's fitting. If you look at this now, it's just looks like it's from the Blade Runner set. I called this one 5A47. I'm just infatuated with this image, I think. This was the photo which made me just be in awe of Lomography 800, I think. I shot it on my Mamiya M645, and I just love the colours. Because this was in the middle of the day, so I shouldn't have been shooting an 800 ISO film, but I don't, just look at those colours. You can almost taste them. It's just such, again, it's like a painterly quality. It's just rendered really, really nicely, and you've got the details in there. I don't know, it just like takes you to another place. It's just a real nice image. This just doesn't even look real. I mean, Lomochrome Purple, right, it's a surreal film, right? And I've shot quite a lot of rolls of it. I shot it at Golden Hour, and it was on Remembrance Sunday in the UK, so that's where you can see the poppies at the bottom. And this is the Major War Memorial in Cardiff, but I went there obviously late in the day, so it was kind of quieter then, and the light was just hitting it, and the trees around it, they're in real life, they're red, so that's what they're coming through as pink now in this image, but it just looks like a video game or something like that. You got the bloom and that nice little turquoise in the sky and these pinks and the purples and stuff. I shot it on my Mamiya 645 and I used a tripod. I took a little bit of time to get the composition right. I'm not entirely stoked. I can see imperfections in it, but I think just the colours and just the majesty of it, it just makes this image, I think.